My name is Carl Pearson. I'm a New York attorney, a graduate of Harvard Law School, and represent homeowners and small businesses throughout the United States in foreclosure defense litigation, quiet title actions, and wrongful foreclosure actions. Customarily, to make the mortgage more affordable with a loan modification, including a principal reduction. This video 105C, entitled Securitization Explained, is the third in a series of 12 related videos. The videos were and are being prepared for viewing in sequence from A to L. The securitization process is completed conceptually at the instant your note and mortgage are transferred to a major national bank pursuant to a pooling and servicing agreement. This major national bank is a trustee, supposedly meeting the requirements of federal tax law in what is known as a REMIC, that's R-E-M-I-C, trust. REMIC means Real Estate Mortgage Investment Conduit, which under federal tax law, when meeting stringent requirements, enables the income received by the REMIC trustee in the form of monthly mortgage payments from the 1,000 or so mortgagors which have been pooled at one time into the single pooling and servicing agreement and REMIC trust. The banks you will see more often as REMIC trustees are Deutsche Bank, US Bank, Bank of New York Mellon, HSBC, JP Morgan, and Citi Mortgage. When MERS reports that one of these banks is your, quote, investor, unquote, in your note and mortgage, there is a high likelihood that your loan was securitized and that there is a pooling and servicing agreement under which your loan is or was being administered or, quote, serviced, unquote. The pooling and servicing agreement, which many of us refer to as the PSA or P&SA, is quite lengthy and requires that the notes and mortgages be transferred on a timely basis to the REMIC trustee, that is, meaning within 60 days of the date of the PSA, in order that the tax advantages may not be lost. If the loan goes into default, a special servicer already named in the PSA replaces your current servicer, a servicer as long as you are not in default, and the special servicer takes over the grim duty of complying with state laws in an effort to try to sell your home in the non-judicial states or to send you a notice of default, acceleration of debt, and intent to foreclose and commence a foreclosure action in the judicial foreclosure states. For this, the special servicer gets paid whether or not you pay your mortgage, and in fact will probably reject any efforts by you to get out of default and will not accept your payments at that time. By this time they want to take over your property and force you to leave. The original loan servicer, by the way, was taking a small percentage of your monthly payments as its compensation and did not get paid if you did not pay your monthly payment. If for some reason there is no servicer or no special servicer, the PSA also appoints a master servicer who takes over when there is no other servicer to service your mortgage. Now let's back up and see how the securitization process actually works. 1. You obtain the commitment for a mortgage to purchase your new home through the loan originating mortgage broker, often falsely calling itself a bank or something similar, such as Speedy Mortgage Loan. Let's call that Speedy. Speedy then contacts a major bank to obtain a commitment for the money to be lent and does the loan paperwork for the borrower, usually a husband and wife, to execute. These are usually forms pre-printed and approved by Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac for various types of mortgage loans for use in specified states to comply with state law. At least it is so intended, I would hope. If the mortgage is going to be securitized, the mortgage probably contains wording to the effect that MERS, that is Mortgage Electronic Registration Systems Inc., or MERS Corp. Inc., or MERS Corp. Holdings Inc., is owner of the mortgage, acting as nominee for the lender, whoever that may be. 3. At the closing, the major bank wires the money into the lawyer for Speedy, who then writes the appropriate checks, ensures that the various documents are executed properly, and then distributes the documents and checks, making you the new owner of the purchased home with a 30-year mortgage of some type, such as a conventional adjustable rate mortgage or whatever. 4. Speedy's lawyer then makes a PDF copy of the original closing documents and presumably sends them to the major bank, which has already committed for the resale of your note and mortgage to an investment banking firm and someone dealing with an investment banking firm, probably in Wall Street, called a, quote, depositor, unquote. 5. The depositor buys up loans for resale to, or, quote, deposit, unquote, with a Wall Street investment banking firm and delivers a loan package consisting of perhaps 100 or 200 loans, including your original note and other closing documents, to such Wall Street investment banking firm. 6. At the same time, there are other depositors also packaging mortgage loans and selling their respective loan packages to the same underwriter, probably one located in New York City. 7. The underwriter then joins with other underwriters who have packages of loans to make a single public offering of perhaps 1,000 to 2,000 loans as a pool. Then they hire Wall Street attorneys to prepare the legal paperwork needed for the offering, in what amounts to a team of underwriters to share the work in selling or distributing the pooled loans. 8. The underwriters then assemble other brokerage firms throughout the nation and in other countries to help them sell the pooled loans, or interest in those loans, beneficial interest in the pooled loans. 9. The paperwork is filed with the Securities and Exchange Commission involving perhaps 1,000 to 2,000 separate loans with no more than one in any given zip code, in which there is a schedule describing each loan by dollar amount of the note, property address including zip code, and the date of the note, but not the name of the borrowers, for purposes of keeping the certain information out of public records, I guess. 10. The offering to investors throughout the world is a variety of cross-sections of the pooled loans called tranches, T-R-A-N-C-H-E-S, designed to meet the requirements of the most conservative to the perhaps high-risk foolhardy investors, and a huge amount of money is raised far exceeding the value of the pooled properties. 11. Everyone along the way takes its or hers or his profit up front. Wall Street gets this money and gives out $500,000 annual Christmas bonuses on the average, and this keeps happening without anyone stopping the process. 12. The original papers for the 1,000 to 2,000 pooled loans, including the original notes, are turned over to the, quote, custodian, unquote, appointed under the PSA, which is a major bank and has the duty of turning the papers over to the REMIC trustee if asked to do so by the trustee. 13. 2,000 loan packages, each 6 inches high, is a pile of original documents 1,000 feet high, or 3 1/3 football fields high. Somewhere within that 1,000 foot high, or 1/5 of a mile high pile, is the original note that you have been wondering about. When you demand to see the original note, you are asking the bank to go to some warehouse and look for the appropriate 1,000 foot pile, and then within that pile locate your original note. Fat chance that they are going to do this for you. Instead, they're going to send you a PDF copy of the note as it was created on the day of your closing. 14. The securitization process is now complete. The investment banks have taken $1 billion in mortgages and have resold them for perhaps $2 billion, and I'm just guessing at that figure, and have distributed the profits among themselves. 15. When the real estate bubble bursts and home values decline, the homeowner is left holding the bag, either forced to leave his or her land through foreclosure, or continue paying an inflated monthly amount to stay in the property, knowing that he or she may never have any equity in or borrowing power from their home as a result of securitization. 16. The banks, on the other hand, continue making these offerings even after they were rescued by taxpayers, and continue to make these huge profits at the risk of taxpayers, so that when the bubble bursts again, the banks will be pulled out once again by taxpayers, who are victims, together with the homeowners, of the biggest scam ever imaginable, perhaps 2,000 times worse than the $50 billion Madoff theft. There may be $100 trillion in derivatives which have been sold and cannot be honored. $100 trillion is 100,000 times 1 billion, or 2,000 times 50 billion. 17. Most of the PSAs state that the agreement is to be governed by and construed under New York law. The REMIC trustee is a New York trust, generally located in New York. The pooled notes and agreements were last assigned in New York, and the assignment should be governed by the New York Uniform Commercial Code, Articles 3 and 9. I'm finished explaining securitization, and you should go on to my next video, 106D, which is get an attorney or get evicted. If you have any questions, please give me a call. My telephone number in New York is 212-307-4444. I provide free consultations and represent homeowners and businesses throughout the United States as to their foreclosure problems, including the saving of properties through loan modifications and any principal reductions. My telephone number once again is 212-307-4444.